God, who is love, couldn't hold this love for himself. He had to give. So he decided to give this love from inside of him, because God is spirit, and whatever came out of God came from within, not from without. So he created one thing that called that thing my image and likeness. God created many creations, but none of them are his image and likeness. The only creation that God referred to as my image and likeness is the human race. And the word image is internal. The word picture is external. So that's why when you go into an apostolic church, apostolic, I'm referring to being Catholic or Orthodox. When you walk into an apostolic church and you see pictures hanging on the walls, don't refer to them pictures. Please, I beg you, they are icons, they are not pictures. Because a picture reflects what the person looks like externally, but the icon reflects what the person looks like internally. So we have icons, not pictures. That is why it is okay to depict the Lord Jesus being black African, being a blonde and with blue eyes, being Chinese, being Japanese, being Middle Eastern, and he was Middle Eastern. But whatever color, whatever shape we depict the Lord, it's an icon, it's an internal reflection of me imagining my beloved Jesus. Therefore, the icon is symbolic. I'm not worshiping the icon. The icon is only a representation symbolically of my Jesus, who sat at the right hand of his Father in his glory. I don't say to the icon, this is Jesus. I say, this is a reminder of my sweetheart who is in heaven, conquering and ruling over everything and everyone. So now, the only one who was created to be the image and the likeness of God was the human race, Adam. So since Adam is the image, created to be the image meaning it came from inside of God. And what comes from the inside? Love. Because where does love come from? The heart. Is the heart inside or outside? Inside. Inside. And whatever is invisible is the source of life. When you stand in front of a tree, it's a beautiful tree, very lush green leaves, and there is beautiful fruits. When you stand before that tree, you always say, look at this tree, how beautiful it is. Look at the leaves, look at the branches, look at the fruits. Has anybody stood before a beautiful, fruitful tree and said, what a wonderful, brilliant roots this is? Poor roots. We don't mention them, we ignore them completely, yet they are the very reason for this beautiful tree. If it wasn't for the good roots, there wouldn't have been a good fruit. But where are the roots? Hidden underground. Whatever is internal hidden is the source of life. That's why love is hidden, therefore it is the source of life. And everything that is hidden, invisible, is eternal. And whatever is visible is temporal. So anything and everything you see with your naked eye, rest assured it will not last very long. It's only temporary. But whatever you do not see, that's what lasts forever. The love of God for the human race is everlasting. So now God created, made this man from the inside of him. In other words, God said to Adam, you are my heart, you are my love, you are my image and likeness. Therefore, you're my son. Therefore, you are the king ruling over the entire world. I created this world like a toy given to my beloved son. You see, parents buy toys for their children in relation to how much they can afford financially. True? Since God is the father here, then God's wealth is infinite. So he said, okay, I'm going to spoil my son Adam. I'm going to create the universe and give it as a toy for my Adam. Because I am God and I'm his dad, I can afford to do something like that. So how about it, Adam? I'll give you this all for you to enjoy. When God created or made Adam, God's intention was one thing: for God to rule over Adam. For God to rule over Adam. So he placed him in this garden. And because he was made on the basis of love, now love cannot exist without freedom coexistent with it. Please pay attention. Love cannot exist without freedom coexistent with it. Reason being, without freedom, love cannot be lived, love cannot be tasted, love cannot be shared with others. It is the very freedom that enables you to live that love and to share that love with others. Without freedom, you can never live love nor share that love with anyone. This is why a slave cannot live love nor share that love, but the son who is free, who is the image and the likeness of his father, can only live that love of the father and share the love of the father with everyone else within his own circle. And since there is freedom, there has to be choices. Otherwise, how will I know I am free if I don't have options or choices? If God had created me and put me in one path and said, Adam, this is your path, tough luck, I'm not free. Since I'm not free, I can't enjoy love. Then I'm a slave, not a son. But God created me to be his son. So with freedom, choices, and with choices, God gave us a tool that is so powerful, it can say no even to God. That tool is called the will. W-I-L-L, the will. The will enabled us to choose, to say yes or to say no to people and to God. So there is the will, there is the choices, there is the freedom, and there is the love. God placed Adam, his son, the image and the likeness of him, in the garden. He gave him three kinds of trees. To Adam, in the center of the garden, God placed two trees, one called the tree of life, and the other tree called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And there was other trees. The other trees, God said to Adam, you can eat from them as much as you want, whenever you want. To the tree of life, God said to Adam, you can eat from the tree of life as well. Now, what does this tree of life represent, or who does this tree of life represent? It represents Christ. And the tree of the knowledge of good and evil represents me and you and all humanity. God said, from the tree of life, Christ, you can eat. From other trees, you can eat for your physical nourishment. But Adam, from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the day you eat from it, definitely you will die. Now, why God gave Adam these options? Because Adam was created to be his son. And since he is the son, he was created on the basis of love. And since he was created on the basis of love, there is freedom. And since Adam was free, God had to give him choices. That's why he allowed him to choose That's why he gave him the will to choose. Now, based on this, we understand now love is a choice, not a mandate. You are not forced to love. You choose freely to love. So when you come to choose your partner in marriage, you do not choose your partner in marriage forcefully. You choose your partner in marriage willingly, freely, based on love. Since you chose your partner freely, willingly, based on love, tough luck what will happen after honeymoon. Anybody home? Don't come to me and say, I want a divorce. Sorry. Just want to make you laugh a bit. Even though it's a serious matter. We're going to talk about relationships very soon. Now, God had to give him the choice. And the choice, he had to give him the will to enable him to choose. Adam chose to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And until this day, we're suffering.